Well, hello, welcome to Go Ballistic. The Scottish Suns look back at the Premiership weekend and look ahead to another European midweek. Now, Kris Boyd is with us today. Boyd, the big breaking news this morning, Rangers confirming former Manchester United executive Patrick Stewart, listen, right, as the new chief executive. Finally found someone to replace James Bisgrove. It looks as if Malcolm Offord will be joining him as chairman. Our own chief football writer, Robert Grieve, breaking the story in SunSport Online on Saturday. Given they can't play centre-half or centre-forward, Boyd, is this big news for Rangers?
Well, I mean, it is. It's a step in the right direction in terms of getting those positions filled. There's no doubt about it that it's been a long time, since James Bisgrove left the club, and there was obviously names being bandied about before and decided not to take it for whatever reason. But Rangers have eventually got someone in the CEO position, as you say, the chairman. John Gilligan is obviously acting chairman right now, but you expect that position to be filled in the next few weeks as well. What's more surprising is Robert Greaves broke a story. Unbelievable.
Back to, he'll never let you live that down. Back to Patrick Stewart. He does have an impressive CV. Worked at Manchester United as lawyer from 2006. Stepped up. He was acting chief executive when Richard Arnold left the club. I think he was involved in the Ineos takeover and then stepped away once Jim Ratcliffe and his team came into Old Trafford. He is a Scot, raised in Aberdeen. He looks to have a lot of credentials to take the job on.
Yeah, I think when you look at the way that Manchester United have been in the last few years, it's been a difficult place to be, and there is no doubt that he'll have the experience of dealing with, problems, because that's exactly what he's coming into at Rangers. There's no getting away from it. But I think on the pitch that we'll touch on in a little while, but looking at even off field as well, when you look at the accounts and everything, it needs to be addressed. He's going to have his work cut out, but listen, I think, Roger, when you've been at Manchester United for that long, it doesn't mean to say that you're going to be an excellent CEO, but what it does tell you is that you're good at your job, because I don't think that whatever role he's been in, you don't last at big clubs for that long if you're not any good. So there is no doubt that Patrick Stewart coming in will, you would expect it to galvanise the football club, because there is no doubt that for me, Rangers have needed someone at the top that everybody can look up to as a leader as such. He will come in, and you would expect him to come in with a presence. He's got to, because I think that's, for me anyway, you should always have that fear factor, not in a bullyish way. I think you should, if you are the CEO or the leading figure of a football club, whatever business you're in, I think you should have that fear factor, that respect, and he's going to need all of that if he's going to turn this around, and it's not going to be a quick fix. And you expect, for me, I think it will be the step in the first step in the direction of Rangers getting back to where they were, because it's not been good enough for so long now. The uncertainty. People being moved around in roles and promoted from within. I think just someone coming in that has, a clear sight of what he wants to do. Yes, he will need help from people within the building, but I just think someone coming in from the outside with a clear mindset that he will make the decisions going forward will be a good thing for Rangers, because for me, I think in the past recently, there's been too many appointments from within, and I get the fact that you want to. It sometimes can be a good thing that people being appointed from within. I always think it's a good thing if everything's going plain sailing. It's not been the case at Rangers, and people have been promoted within, have been really not, for me, backed up. The role that they're about to fill.
Understanding is, Boyd, that this is going to signal a change of direction in the Rangers hierarchy. In the past, and I can go back to David Murray's time, the Rangers chairman was always the man who called the shots. Even in recent times, when it was John Bennett working with James Bisgrove, it was the chairman who made the big calls. When it was Douglas Park, he made the call. Dave King made the call. My understanding now is that Patrick Stewart, as CEO, will be making the big decisions at Rangers from top to bottom of the football club. Is that a good thing that there's, you know, someone with a firm hand in the tiller to make those big calls?
Yeah, there needs to be, Roger. You know, I think that, I mean, I don't think, you know, you go back to previous regimes, and I'm all for having people on board, and there's 3, 4, 5 people, whatever it may be. But I think when it comes down to, you need one man to make a decision. You know, collectively, you can come to some sort of agreement, right? This is where we're going, everything. But for me, I think you should have one person that makes the decision in the end up and go with that. Because, you know, sometimes when there's too many people putting in too much information, or, you know, they've got their own agendas, or whatever way you want to look at it, sometimes it gets caught up in what exactly the point is, or, you know, the decision to hire someone or fire someone because everybody else is getting, you know, they're saying it. For me, I think that it should be one person at the top that makes that decision, because you know, for the obvious reasons I've said there, sometimes it gets caught up and nobody really with a clear mind makes that decision. If you've got one person, it's his decision and his decision finally. And guess what? If he doesn't make the right decisions, then he loses his job. Whereas right now, there's been so many people made decisions at the top of Rangers that nobody's really had to answer for it. I mean, it's been bad decision after bad decision for a long period of time now at Rangers, Roger. There's no getting away from it.
First day, Boydie, Monday, December 16, the day after the Premier Sports Cup final. I know you were at Ibrox on Saturday to watch that 1-1 draw against Dundee United. It's not going well on the pitch. If it doesn't go well on the Hampden pitch on December 15, does Patrick Stewart have a big decision on his desk on December 16?
I mean, if it keeps going the way it's going right now, it might be done before that. I mean, Saturday, that first 45 minutes on Saturday is arguably the worst 45 minutes I have seen in a game of football. And I get the conditions weren't great. I get in terms of, you know, Dundee United team bus arriving late, albeit they were still able to pop off and have the pre-match meal. But, you know, there was a lot of factors into, you know, why you can make excuses for a poor performance as such. But, I mean, I have never seen anything like that in my life, that first 45 minutes. The fans made their feelings clear at half time. It was really poor. Second half, yeah, Rangers got a little lift. There's no getting away from it. It wouldn't have taken much to come out and you know, raise the standard, shall we say. I think the Danilo and Hadji introduction at half time did have an impact in that, because Dessers and Diomande were non-existent in the first half. What I will say is, it's easy to look at a striker as well, and listen, I've had it all through my career, and you could do more, and it could have. I feel sorry for Cyril Dessers in a way. Listen, his performances have not been great, but nobody creates anything for him, Roger. Nobody. The team is so far behind. There's no pace. There's a lack of creativity. Rangers go behind, and all of a sudden, you know, the manager side get it forward. You're just launching the ball forward to no one, basically. Because even if Cyril Dessers goes and challenges with the centre backs and the ball's dropping down, unless Connor Barron is up in it, then there's nobody even there to pick up the second balls. That's the way it looked in the first half. Second half, it was a little bit better. As I said, you know, there was the introduction of Danilo, who, you know, had not played a lot of football recently, looked relatively sharp, I must add, and he had a couple of chances, probably should have scored. Hadji came on and tried to link the play and make things happen, was involved in, you know, there was, I think it was a chance just before Czerny scored or just after it. Good goal from Czerny, I must add. Nice finish. But you look at, you know, where would Rangers be in recent weeks if it wasn't for Czerny on that right-hand side with his goals? And, you know, at least he's trying to make something happen, because there is no doubt that Rangers are struggling in terms of the goal front. I mean, nearly half the league have scored more goals than Rangers, which would be a worry. And you look at, there just seems to be nothing. There's just an acceptance of, you know, the poor performances for me. And I know Philippe Clement will come out and say, oh, you know, we're at the end of November. This ain't going anywhere. I can tell you right now, the fans have had enough. They're walking around the pitch at the end of the game to try and applaud what was left in the ground. I mean, there was about 200 people left in it. They've had enough. And, you know, the Rangers hierarchy are at a stage now where they're going to have to either make a decision, you know, because the fans are starting to dwindle away. They've had enough. And it would be worrying because that first half was as bad as I've seen. Fast forward to Thursday night, Rangers might go to Nice and put on a performance. But I can guarantee you one thing. Come Sunday at McDermott Park, I'll be back to what it was at the weekend there. There is something, there's a connection. There's somewhere not right at Rangers right now. You're getting 15, 20 minute spells where it looks okay, but you're also getting 15, 20 minutes longer spells where it's not good enough. And, something's going to have to give shortly.
Now 9 points behind Aberdeen, 11 points behind Celtic. And Celtic just went through the gears at Tynecastle in the second half on Saturday night. They've now got Champions League football on the agenda again. Club Brugge coming to Parkhead on Wednesday night. A new contract for Alistair Johnson, a new contract for James Forrest. It's all running smoothly.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think when you look at Celtic, you're winning games of football. I mean, Aberdeen had that challenge for a while, and you kind of, we might touch on them in a minute, but you kind of got the feeling that it was just a matter of time before Celtic start to pull away. That's them 3 clear of Aberdeen, 11 clear of Rangers, and as I said, we're not even in December. It's alarming, for Rangers' point of view, but from Celtic's, they'll be delighted to go to Tynecastle and score 4 goals. It was a difficult first half from them, but it was the exact same at Rugby Park a couple of weeks ago. It was a difficult, first half from it, but they find a way. Celtic find a way. The pace they've got, it's the total opposite from Rangers. The first goal, obviously, it was a mistake, but Kyogo reacts as quick as he normally does and managed to get it in the back of the net at the second attempt. The next goal, the pace from Kuhn and Maeda is incredible. Craigie Gordon might look at it and think he could maybe do a little bit better at that front post, but take nothing away from Kuhn's strike, fantastic. And then the 2 Adamida goals at the end. You look at, we've touched on this weeks and weeks ago, that Celtic are making substitutions and still finishing games strong. They've got players coming on and having an impact, scoring goals, assisting. So they're in a really good place. So there's no doubt that I think the midweek Champions League game will be a different problem for them, because I don't think Club Brugge will come and try and go toe-to-toe with Celtic the way that RB Leipzig did. I think Brugge will be more pragmatic and say come and try and break us down and maybe try and hit Celtic in the counter-attack. We've seen at the weekend, Club Brugge have got players that could score goals. They smashed 7 past their opposition at the weekend. Beat Aston Villa the last time as well. So no mugs, although they're below Celtic right now. It will be a difficult game for Celtic, but if Celtic are able to go and put on the performance, the levels in terms of the aggression to go and close down, the willing to run without the ball, willing to run with the ball, they're in a really good place right now. Brendan Rodgers will be extremely happy all over the pitch. You're now looking at, you've got Carter Vickers back now, Scales, who was excellent the first part of the season. Now he's the one that's been dropped for or left out for Trusty and Carter Vickers. Taylor's came back in, they look stronger there. As you say, Alistair Johnson with the new contract. I think he's been excellent this season as well. No doubt that Nicholas Kuhn in front of him has probably helped Alistair Johnson as well, because maybe last year when he was giving them the ball, it was a bit hesitant to go around them, and because we've spoken about Kuhn in terms of maybe losing the ball and not tracking back to the level of what he is this season, but the connection that those two have got right now is as good as Celtic have had in a number of years in that position. Kyogo will always score goals. Maeda's work rate, and you've got to say Celtic in the middle of the pitch. If you allow whatever 3, especially McGregor and Hatate, you'd imagine it'll be Engels, but Bernardo, I think, he's probably looking at saying he's been a little bit unlucky to be left out, because his performances have been really good since he's come in. But for Brendan Rodgers, what a problem that is to have when you've got 4, 5 midfielders vying for 3 positions, but they're all at that level. And if they're able to go and dictate the game again, like what they were against RB Leipzig, then you would, Celtic have every chance of taking the 3 points against Club Brugge. But for me, it will be a total different game. I don't expect the Belgians to come over and go toe-to-toe, or try and go toe-to-toe with Celtic.
New deal for James Forrest takes him to the summer of 2026. I think if he wins 2 trophies this season, he eclipses Bobby Lennox as Celtic's most decorated player in their history. He's not flashy. You don't see him in the headlines, but what a career he's had at Celtic.
100%. Well, I think he's only going to need one because the league championship's in the bag. That's for sure, Roger. I think one of the cups, and what a chance he's got to do that next month as well. So, I mean, for James Forrest, and you think of the players that have when you go back to a long time ago, the Lisbon Lions and everything that they won, as you mentioned there with Bobby Lennox. But I think right now, for where Celtic are, James Forrest epitomises the whole thing. For me, you speak about Scott Brown in recent times, you speak about Callum McGregor, but James Forrest has been there now for a period of time, and we speak about Rangers in terms of not having that identity, that connection with the players to the club. Celtic have got it in abundance. I mean, James Forrest is never going to be a regular for Celtic going forward now. I mean, those days are gone. But even when he comes in, he makes a difference for those 3 or 4 games where he needs to. When he needs to come off the bench, he'll make a difference. You could argue that James Forrest turned the season for Celtic last year when he arrived back, because he knows exactly what it takes to be a success at the football club. Added to that with Anthony Ralston, Greg Taylor, Callum McGregor, boys that have been over the course and distance that know exactly what it means to play for the football club. I bet you Rangers wish they'd, a few like that in their dressing room right now, that's for sure.
Look, Hearts, the impressive for spells in the first half there. Losing 4-1, will that dent confidence ahead of their meeting with a team from Bruges in Thursday Circle Bruges?
No, I don't think so. Celtic have got that fear factor, especially in Scottish football right now, where everybody's more or less saying if you get away with a 1 or a 2-0 or a 2-1 or a 3-1, then it's okay. Because I mean, if Celtic click, when you go back a few weeks ago, I mean, Roger, they absolutely destroyed Aberdeen when everybody was telling us Aberdeen were serious contenders and challengers, albeit that was in the League Cup. But I think that we saw from Celtic what they can do, and that fear factor is there with them right now. The majority of teams, not the majority, all the teams in the Scottish Premiership are terrified of them. The pace they've got, the way they play, the way that they go and press to get the ball back as well. There's not, you don't get any minute against them. And you look at Hearts. I think they've got to take confidence from the first half performance. They were able to stop Celtic getting into their stride straight away. Had a couple of opportunities themselves. I do think Hearts in a false position. They are second bottom, but there's been signs recently that they are getting back to where you'd expect them to be. Yes, they've got Europe. They're in a good place. In European competitions, you would expect them to go through to the knockout stage after Christmas. So I look at Hearts right now, and there is no doubt the focus has to get back on the league. They need to start climbing the table. It's they're only 9 points behind St Mirren, and they're in the top 6, and Hearts are second bottom. But I just going to get the feeling that Hearts are starting to get back, albeit it sounds crazy after being thrashed 4-1. If you just look at the scoreline, but I don't think Hearts were as bad as everybody expected. And Celtic the second half, they clicked. But I think Hearts will turn it around. I still fancy them, Roger, to get top 6.
If you think Hearts are in a fault position, you can't say the same about Hibernian. Bottom of the league, 4-1 at Dundee, Jordan Obita sent off, Eli Yuan doing keepy-ups while Jordan Obita was getting sent off, and every goal they lost was worse than the previous one.
Yeah.
Tuesday night. How long can this go on, Boydie?
Well, I think when you get the old dreaded vote of confidence, and that's exactly what David Gray got last week. I mean, you go back 2 weeks ago, after before the international break. There was obviously meetings and it had been spoken about, and they were going to back David Gray. I don't think you look at what's going on between then and now. Nothing's changed, and nothing's going to change, because this group of players. We keep speaking about the manager, the hierarchy. The hierarchy are a problem at Hibs. There's no doubt about it. Too much influence. You cannot just keep throwing managers under the bus. The recruitment has been terrible. There's no getting away from it. And I get the fact that the manager will probably look at the weekend there, and there's things, as you say, with Eli Yuan and that. But these are people that have continuously lost managers their job. I don't understand why the next manager always. I mean, if there's one criticism with David Gray, you could say, why are you going back to these guys? You've been part of a coaching staff that has already You've already overseen managers lose their job because of these players. Why do you continue to go back to them? What you're as well doing is just getting them out of the team and putting a couple of youngsters in, because you'll at least get them running for you, and you've not got incidents like what you had at the weekend. I mean, it's embarrassing, really. The fact that, you got off to a good start, and then all of a sudden, Abita gets sent off. It was a red card. There's no getting away from it. But it's the way that Hibs capitulate after that. I mean, you're 1-0 up. Can you not do something to actually make Dundee work for the goals? There's a weakness right through the football club. It comes from the top. There's no getting away from it. It comes from the top. As I said, there's a lack of leadership there. You could argue that it's just a small scale of what's going on at Ibrox right now, because both teams really need to do something to address what is going on the pitch, because it's no good enough. And what I will say is as well, Roger, I bet you when you look at, I mean, there's a league table there: Kilmarnock, St Johnstone, Ross County, Dundee, St Mirren, Motherwell, Dundee United, all above them. I bet you all their managers will be saying, if I had the budget that Hibs had, we'd be in a far better place right now. It's worrying.
Look at some of those teams you've named. Dundee beat Hibs at the weekend. Ross County won at the weekend. St Johnstone won at the weekend. They're all capable of getting results. Could Hibernian go down?
But I think a few weeks ago I said they couldn't. But I mean, you look at where they are now, and I mean, it's one win in 14 all comps, I think, and that was a 2-0 victory against St Johnstone just when they were in turmoil. They made a decision to change the manager. They've picked up. Can Hibs get down? Of course they can. We've seen it before. They can go down. I don't think they will, but something's going to have to change. I mean, I've got Hearts in the top 6. I've got Hibs. They're not going down. Who is going down, Roger? Who is?
You tell me, Boyd. Listen, we will find out as the season goes on. Thank you very much for your time today. We will speak to you. We'll have your column in the paper on Saturday, looking back on a week of European football, and we'll be back next Monday for Go Ballistic. Take care.
Cheers.